Have you or a loved one had a concussion or traumatic brain injury and you want to speed your recovery or maximize your recovery? I'm Dr. Michael Winters, Winters Wellness, Chiropractic Redefined, and I'm going to share with you a couple concepts today that you probably have not heard of but can really make a big difference. In a few days we should be recording a testimonial video of a person who was injured in college soccer and has made a tremendous recovery under our care, and I want to share with you some of those concepts. The first concept is that when we have a concussion, there can be microscopic bleeding in the brain. That microscopic bleeding is seen by the immune system as abnormal if it's outside the blood-brain barrier, and the brain cells that are injured are seen as abnormal by the immune system. Then the immune system can set up an attack on those brain cells, and an autoimmune process starts as a result of the injury, but that's what leads the concussion to be so slow to recover and take so long. And so the concept there is that we can give blueprint factors for the brain, and that's something specifically called neurotrophin PMG from Standard Process Supplements. As we give those blueprint factors, then the immune system sees those blueprint factors, beats up on the blueprint factors, and leaves the brain alone to heal. And this is something not well known, but we see it work out clinically very successfully. And so that's the first concept that I want to share with you, and there's other nutritional things that we can do to reduce inflammation. The second concept is to be able to let the brain find its own path to recovery. The way that the brain can find its own path to recovery is to show it what it's doing. Just like the brain looking at itself in a mirror, it can see what it's doing. So the tool there is called Neurofeedback, EEG biofeedback or Neurofeedback. And to get more information, you can simply Google Neurofeedback and concussion or Neurofeedback and traumatic brain injury. Now, what neurofeedback does in a real simple way, especially the way that we use it, is there's a couple sensors go on the scalp and on the ears. Nothing goes into the brain, so your brain is not being pushed to do anything, but the electrical activity of the brain is read by the computer, and each time the brain goes into an unstable pattern, the computer cues the brain through stopping the music that you're listening to. So the brain is continually getting feedback on what it's doing. As the brain gets feedback on what it's doing, it actually can learn from that and become more stable and more efficient. Think about driving down Interstate 24 here, that's just a mile or two away, and you're off to the right on the bumper strips. They're rattling and they're making noise. That tells you that you moved out of your lane. If you intended to stay in your lane, you just steer back into your lane. But either way, the bumper strips give you feedback. So they tell you that something's happened, that you moved out of your lane and you have an opportunity to steer back into your lane. That's how neurofeedback works for the brain. So the brain becomes more stable, more efficient, learns to drive a straight line, so to speak. And that's the greatest tool for the brain to learn about itself, just like looking in a mirror, through neurofeedback. And then the other thing that we can do is we can work with the structural alignments of the neck and upper back, and we do a no twisting, no popping form of chiropractic that can help the cerebral spinal fluid flow. We can actually work with slight distortions and movements in the skull with very gentle technique, and that can help line things back up and also help the recovery from traumatic brain injury. So those are the three things that I wanted to share with you. If you want more information about this, contact our office at 270-554-2141. As I mentioned, look up neurofeedback and traumatic brain injury. And like us on Facebook, share us on YouTube, and I look forward to helping you have a more complete recovery from traumatic brain injury. I'm Dr. Michael Winters, Winters Wellness, Chiropractic Redefined.